Today's lecture is on methods. It's not going to be that complicated as some of the previous ones because we've already done some things with methods. But I hope if there is something that you couldn't get while we were using them in the games and in the demo last time, that everything will be clear after this. Okay, so what are methods? First of all, yes, lecture content. So what is a method? Why we use methods? Then we are gonna have a look at the first couple of examples. So methods, void methods, methods with parameters. After that, methods which return a value, overloading of methods, and after that, best practices. So these are relatively simple. I think there is nothing complicated about this. So we'll see. Right, so what is a method? A method is a building block that solves a single problem. It combines a part of your code, gives it a name, and can be called from other parts of the code. Yes, so when you construct, large applications and games and so on, can you imagine, say, some game like Dota or something like that just being in a single file, 30 million lines of code and so on? It's not gonna be nice, right? So this is what methods are for. Okay, if you come from other languages, then maybe you've heard different names for methods, like functions, procedures, subroutines, and something else. I guess so. In JavaScript, they are called functions. I remember that in C they were called functions as well. C++. Functions too. Okay, so in C# for some reason, let's be different, they are called methods, but it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, why do we use methods? They split large problems into small pieces. So that thing that we did with falling rocks, if you remember, we had quite a bit of code, about 120 lines, and all of it was in a single while loop. And we broke it into pieces, and then this while loop became like 10 lines or something like that, which made it a lot more easier, to read. And yeah. Okay. After that, better organization of your code. Again, it will be a lot easier, to understand, to read, and so on. If your code is, divided into smaller pieces. So. Okay, improves readability, improves understandability, and by understandability means that if someone has to take a look at your code a couple of months from now, or maybe tomorrow or something like that, and this does happen. So if you're not an independent developer, then you don't need to worry about it. Whatever you write, you'll be the only one that is gonna see it. But most of the times you will work for a company where maybe after a month you've done some game, and after a month someone comes to you, has to extend it, put new features on, and so on. You have to try your best to write your code in a good way and readable way, so that others can understand it. Okay, methods are really helpful for getting rid of repetition of code. So repetition of code is generally bad. With methods, you wrap up some code, and you can then reuse it as many times as you want. So if you remember, last time's demo was we were printing some strings, okay, and I wanted to do that many times so that I can see the change from each step to the next, right? So that was about 5 lines of code. But if I had to put all of them in my main method, then it will be very, very long, and there is no need for that. Yeah, so you can use the methods as many times as you want, and it's going to be a single line of code instead of like 5 or 10 or maybe more, depends on what you're doing. Okay, and code reusability is pretty much similar. Okay, so I want to get to some explanations. So this original picture is very descriptive of what methods are. So imagine that this. I don't have my zoom it, so I'll have to start it now. Let's get back to this, please. Okay. So yeah, if you imagine that you're a construction worker and right, you wanna build you want to build a skyscraper or something big, you have to start with the smaller pieces, with the bricks and so on. So this is pretty much what methods are. Methods are your smaller pieces that when you put all of them together, you get your building, or in this case you get your application. So all of these smaller pieces are a part of something big. Okay, for a better, more abstract explanation, methods are something like functions in mathematics, right? So let me give an example. So f of x equals say square root of x. Okay, so this is pretty much what methods are. So each method has a name. So this is a name. We have some variables that we put in. Most of you from high school probably haven't seen it, but I can have f of x, y, z, and it can be something like x plus y minus 2z, right? It doesn't matter. The thing is that I put some information in my function, I feed it some information, and it gives me some result, right? Result. Okay. Right. Okay, so with this function, the way you would use it, so let's say that we've written and we've implemented the square root of x function, and what's it gonna happen? How do I use this? Well, I just put in something like f of 4, and it's gonna straight away give me the result, which is 2. If I put something like I don't know, 9, it's gonna give me 3, right? So this is just how you use it. So we've wrapped up this complicated piece of code or calculation, and the user from now on, or the developer, can just straight away say, well, I don't know how you do it, but I want to take the square root of 4, and the method that you've written is this. It just gives you the result. So no one really cares about how you implement it, how you do it, and so on, as long as it works. So if it works, the person after you is gonna see the name of the method, say draw squares or something like that, and they will know what it does, right? And they can use it straight away. Okay, right, that's it for some general explanations. So okay, void methods and parameters. So each method has a return type, name, parameters, and body. Okay, void methods don't have a return type. So at the beginning, the thing that we'll be doing is just take some part of the code, wrap it up, and put it in another place. Just give it a name so that we can use it straight away without having to do all the lines of code in our main method. So these are relatively simple. So okay, parameters are also optional. We'll see that in the first couple of demos as well. Okay, so they just wrap up a piece of code and just gives it a name, and this is pretty much the example that I gave. So you have some parameters. Okay, you have your method, which is in this case this one, square root of x, and it just gives us the result of the calculation straight away. Okay, let's write some code. So file, new project, then blank solution. And this is going to be methods demo. Okay, let's add the first demo. So this is going to be C# console application there, and this is one void methods with parameters. Okay, let's do the usual things that we do. Just remove everything that we do not need. This is gonna be void methods. And this thing here is gonna be void methods as well. Control A, KD. Okay, and so we normally start writing our code here, right? So some code here, some code here. But the idea is not to write all of our code here, but instead, you know, just have different building blocks for our application. So let's say, how do we make methods? So if you ever forget how to do it, then you can just, you know, follow this thing from up here. So let's start. So static void, and let's do a method which is called print logo, some curly brackets as well, and here, you know, let's do something simple. So Zariba and then Academy. Okay, and right, so this is our method, and let's have a look. So this static thing, you don't care about it for now. We'll see what it does later on, and why do we write static here, but for now just ignore this. Void means that there is nothing to return, nothing to bring back. You know, we just wrap up some code that I would normally be able to write here without any problem as is, but instead we put it in a method. So this is, you know, the simplest of methods. Okay, then we have the name here, which is print logo. If you've noticed, I start with capital letters, and you can, again, you can guess this from the main method above, which has the same structure. So this is Pascal case, meaning that every new word, including the first one, starts with a capital letter. When you do variables, something like int, or like string, print logo, the first one is, you know, small, and this is called, so let's just give it some text. So this is, you know, camel case this way. Okay, and this is, you know, an important distinction. Later on, when we go into object-oriented programming, you'll see why is this done, why is it easier to read, and so on. So there is a reason for all that. Okay, right. So we have the return type, which in this case is void, meaning that we don't return anything. This is the name. You have to put some brackets after that, which denotes that this is a method and not a variable or a property or something like that. So yeah, and this is the body. So if I have to do, you know, a diagram, this is return type. This is the name, and this is the body, or, you know, the block. Okay, so let's see how do we use this. So if I start this now, it's not gonna do anything because I just have my method. I have the structure, but I haven't used it yet, so nothing is gonna happen. To actually make something happen, I just need to have the name of my method, you know, the brackets, and then semicolon, and there we go. Okay, but so far we haven't done anything, right? I can just, you know, copy paste this up here, and it's gonna be, you know, pretty much the same thing. But what happens if instead of these two lines, I have a couple of more? So game, academy, course, from noob to game developer. Okay, now they are 5, which is still fine. I can just, you know, copy paste it above and it's fine. But what happens if I want to use this method, you know, a couple of times? Let's say, you know, 5 times. And, you know, this is a lot of text on the console, but please notice that if I didn't use a method here, I would have to have all of these 5 times 5. I'll be having 25 lines of code. And this is the idea. So by having a method, you just wrap up a lot of code. And in this case, this is a very simple example, but you wrap up a lot of code and just give it a name, and it does everything for you. So yeah, so this was the first method. Let's do some more. Okay, so static void print sign. And okay, so the next method is I want to have here print sign. I would actually like to have a number, so int number equals int.parse console.readline. Yeah, and I would like to check what is the sign of this number. Is it positive, is it negative, or is it 0? So if I want to do this, I have to have some way to pass the value of this number, right? And this happens here. I just have to input number. Okay, and from now on I can use this value number in my method. So here I have to put int given number. Yeah, so this is the same as f. This is a horrible f. Let me just do that again. So f of x, right? I need to put some value in here so that I'll be able to do my calculation, right? In the previous example, we had something like f. I don't give it anything, and I just say, well, this thing equals 2, right? I don't do anything. I don't need variables. I don't need values. I don't need anything to do the job that I have to do with my method. But here, this x is the variable that I have to give to make my calculation. So if this is x squared, now to actually make the calculation, I would need to have f of 1. This is going to be 1. F of 5. It's going to be 25, and so on, right? So this is corresponding to this x here, and this is the value that I have to feed my method so that it can do its job. So this is the same thing that we're doing. We want to print the sign of some number that I have from the console. Okay, and this number is given here in the method. Okay, it always starts with the type, and after that just some name that you want to have to use, that you want to be using in your method, and they don't have to be the same, right? I can put a number here. I can put given number. I can put any name that I want, any name that I'm comfortable with. They don't have to be the same. They can be the same. Depends on the situation. Right now, I just want to stress that they don't have to be the same, so that's why I'm doing it different. But most of the times, I would just put it the same name. Okay, and now if you notice, if I type number or something like console write line number, then I'm not gonna have it here. The only thing that I have is not this number that I give, which is just some value, but this thing that I've started. So this is my x. This is like, so given number is like the abstract x, right? And this number here is like the concrete or the specific value that I give, say 2, 4, 5, and so on. Okay, but I can use given number. Here I can write it on the console, so let's do that first. Okay, so let's input a number, let's say 5, and this is what we have. So let me just delete this, all of this, and I would like to move this below so that we don't get confused. Okay, so if I put something like 10, the method now just prints it, but it's going to print it for every number that I put in. Let's get back to the print sign problem. So this is very, very simple check with if statement. So if given number is bigger than 0, we would like to have positive. Else if given number is less than 0, I would like to say negative, and else I would like to say that the number is 0. Okay, and now I wrap all of this check. I may need it at some point, when you do your games and so on. With the 2048, there can be, similar checks whether there are two consecutive numbers which are the same, and it's a bit of a longer check, but you can just wrap it up in code and then just use it up here. So now if we try this. And I press something like 10, okay, it says positive. If I put something like -1, it says negative, and if I put the 0, which is neither positive nor negative, I am going to get 0. Okay, cool thing about this is I can just hide these, right? I don't need to be looking at all of this code and scrolling down and so on. If I need to look at a method, I can always click the plus sign and it's gonna open it up for me. Okay, right, so what else? We can have, so this is the manual way of creating a method, and I think I've shown the other way, which I am going to be using now. So let's say that I want to have a method which is called printMax, and I want to give it two numbers, so float num1, float num2. Actually, I just want to have these, straight away. So 2.5f and 1.3f. Okay, right now I don't have my code, and this is why this is underlined in red. But straight away I can just press Control dot, and it's gonna tell me generate method void methods printMax. Okay, so let's do that. Control dot, enter, and we see that there is our method. Okay, I said this thing we don't need, the private, and if you saw it, all automatically created everything that I need. In this case, I am passing two values which are floats, and it just created automatically for me. Okay, so delete this as well. So this is not implemented exception. If you use it and you haven't implemented it, this is what you get. So we delete that as well. And okay, so what do I have to do? If v1 is bigger than v2, I would like to print something like the number is bigger, and put v1 here. Okay, I would like to have also else if, which is going to be v2 bigger than v1, and here I would like to have the number is bigger, that is going to be v2, and else print they are equal. Okay, let's give it a go. I'm not going to input it from the console because it doesn't matter in this case. So this is from the previous example. Okay, so the number 2.5 is bigger. Okay, so let's make this one smaller, something like 0.5f. It has to say 1.3 is bigger now. There it is. And what happens if I put not float numbers but integer numbers? Can you tell me? They're going to be casted to float. Is that automatic, or I have to put something like I don't know, float here or something?
Should be automatic.
Should be all automatic, because these two types are compatible one with the other. So if I do that, 10 is bigger. Okay, but if instead I had here int, and I wanted to, let's do that actually. So if instead here I had int, and this is say 10.1f, and I started now, I'm gonna have an error because the types now are not compatible. And right, so you have to be really careful with your types or your variables that you put in your method. So so if you want to have floats, then put floats. If you want to have integers, put integers. If you have to be working with strings, then do that as well. But don't count on your program to guess everything and do everything for you. You have to be aware of which type you need. And this is the same with functions, right? So if I have f of x equals x squared, and I give a value for x, which is a text like Zariba or something like that, it's not going to know what to do, right? And this is the same with the methods in C#. Okay, what else? Let's do another simple example. I'm actually going to be doing it manually, so I don't need to look at this now. It works, so I'm just going to close it up. Okay, so static void say month, and I'm going to have an integer month. So this int month is a value that I'll be passing, which is from 0 to 12, or sorry, from 1 to 12. Okay, all right, so let's have an array of months. So string array months equals, and let's do them all. So this is going to be, let's say that's probably enough. So January, February, March, April, May, what's after that? June, July. I'll put an enter around here. Actually a little bit earlier, maybe here. July, August, September, and I'll put another enter here. October, November, December, and I don't need the last one. Okay, and everything that I have to do now is just print the current month. So I need to be printing months of the number of months that I've been given. So this is going to be month, but -1. Okay, right, because in the array we start counting from 0, and yeah. Okay, let's have a look. So same month of, let's do 5. Okay, so this is May. If I put 12, oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't change it here. Let's do 12. This is now December. What's gonna happen though if I put something like 13? Exception, right? Okay, how do I change this? So I wanna, if I have 13, let's assume that this is 1 year and 1 month passed. So this has to be January. So how do you suggest I change it here? Yes, %12. Sorry, is that here? %12. Okay, 5. Yeah, I didn't change it here. So yeah, January. Okay, let's do 15 here. So this is March. Okay, but what happens if I do 12? Which doesn't have to be there. Actually, let's put number here and let's solve all of our problems. So let's put 12. It says December, 1, January, and I don't know what else. 36. Okay, 36 December. Okay, it works. It works. Okay, I am gonna hide this as well. And let's see, what else do I have here? Yes, this is a bit more interesting of an example, but I'll be doing that in a separate demo. So let's have add new project. This is gonna be more examples. It's actually gonna be just one probably, but so this is triangle print. Change that, delete this as well. Okay, so the triangle that we'll be printing is the following one. Let's say that we put a number which is n equals 4, and what I'll be printing is, I'll just use that. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 1. And this is what we'll be doing. If I put 5, clearly, there'll be one more line here up to 5, and then it's going to go down. I'm sure that you can do this with for loops and so on, but let's see how much better the code is going to look like if we extract one piece of it in a method. So the piece that I want to extract is print line. So this line just with one element, this line here with 2 elements, this line, and so on, because otherwise I would have to have many for loops one in another. So this is what we'll be doing. So we'll have a method which is going to print all of these lines, each of these lines, and after that we'll use a for loop to go through all of them. Okay, so let's do that. So static void print line, and I would like to have int start and int end. Right, so here if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, the thing that I want to have is this is my start and this is my end, so that I know what to print and where and when and so on. Okay, so how do I do that? It's a simple for loop from start to end, but I want to have that end included. And everything that I want to do here is console write, and I want to have here, I would like to have the I. And this is going to print every number on the same line, starting with the start integer and then finishing at the end integer. Okay, and then we will need to do something up here as well. So first of all, we will need to have our number, right? What is the final value that we'll be having? So int n equals int dot parse of console dot read line. Okay, and so the number of lines, if you remember, it showed me not the Windows key. It showed me the final line. So 1, 1, 2, so on, 1, 2, 3, 4. If n is equal to 4. Okay, so we'll divide the printing of the triangle in 2 parts. 1, 2, 1. I'll first print this part, which is gonna have all of the values up to n, and after that I'll be going down with the second part. So the first 4 here has to start I'll rename this to line, and it has to start with 1, and it is gonna finish with n less than or equal to n. Okay, and everything that I have to do here is print line of 1. So my line is gonna be from 1 up to which number? Well, n is gonna be just the last one, right? So n is just gonna be 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I say from 1 to n, it's gonna print all of them here, right? I need something else. So this is why we have the this line variable that changes from 1 up to 4 in this case. So with every single line, I start with a 1 and then finish with basically my line, because it goes from 1 to 4. So if I put if I put a line here, then that should do it. So let's see what's happening right now, and I'm not going to get tricked this time. I'm going to do this. So apply and control F5. Let's see what we've done. Oh yeah, I have to input a number, right? And okay, this kind of seems to work, but I don't have my new line, so yeah, in the end here, probably here I have to put a new line. Let's have a look. So 5. Okay, and there we go. Is it clear why I used my function print line from 1 to line? Yes, or shall I rename this to number of numbers in a single line? Okay, I guess that is more descriptive, so I can just, you know, let's not overdo it. Numbers on a line. You know, this is fine. Okay, and then I have to do pretty much the same thing, but I have to do it backwards, right? So for I starts from how much? N minus 1, right? Because I've printed, so 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've printed all of this, and the rest is 1, 2, 3. So the next line is going to start with n minus 1 and not with n. So n minus 1 up to how much? 1. And then I have to decrease at each step. And the interesting thing is that here the code is pretty much the same. So print line 1 and then I, and I have to be printing a new line after that as well. So now let's have a look. 5. Okay. 10. Better. Okay. Right. Is this example, you know, clear? Everything fine? Well, it's not that complicated. If you don't get it now, and if I give you the problem, you should probably be able to do it. Yes. Yeah, it's every time 1, but this way I can, you know, change it to whatever I want, right? So if I want to make the triangle start with 2, then I just put 2 here. I put 2 here, and is it gonna break? Actually, I don't know. No, it starts with 2. So yeah, you know, it's just flexibility. Yes, for this specific triangle, which starts always with 1, I can just do one variable here, which is gonna be, you know, just int end, and I'll always be starting with 1. Yes, that is true. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's. What else we have? Let me check my presentation. What's next? Okay, we are not there yet. We have one more demo to do. Let me close this one up. And the next method that we'll be doing is for optional parameters. So optional parameters. Okay, so let's have this. So static void print numbers, and it's going to be very similar. So int start, int end, and I would like to have a simple for, which is going to be doing so start, then I would like to have end, and I would like to have equals here, and up here I want to have, you know, the same thing. So this is going to be I. Okay, so this method, what it does is I feed it 2 numbers and it prints all of them on the same line. So it's absolutely the same as the previous one for now, but I want to change something about it. So right now I can only call this method if I feed it 2 values, right? So if up here I say what do I want to say? Print numbers. And if I open up this bracket, it's going to tell me straight away that I have to have start and an end. And if I put something like, I don't know, 1 and then 10, it's going to work the same way that the previous one did. Let's say 5. Okay, here I want to have them on the same line, so let's do that as well. Okay, but what happens if I want to have some default values for my start and end? Let's say that someone forgot or didn't want to input any numbers here. Let's have something which is, you know, default. So let the default be to start from 1, and then the default end to be let's say, I don't know, 30 or something. Okay, so what's going to happen now? If I just leave it from 1 to 10, so if I give the values, this is what's it going to do? Yes. Okay, fair point. So that thing here equals 1, that thing here equals 30. Okay, so yeah, if I leave it this way, it's still gonna print the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, I would like to change this because I don't like this. But if I don't put anything, print numbers, and I can now do that. If I don't put anything, it's gonna assume that these are the values that are put into the method, and it's gonna print from 1 to 30 if I kindly put a new line so that we can see. Okay, so right, so this is now up to 30, right? These are the default values, and sometimes I may not want to give both values. I may want to give just print numbers of what. If I only put one number here, what's gonna happen? Let's say 10. It's gonna be the start number, right? So we should be expecting something from 10 to 30. So let's have a look. From 10 to 30, there it is. Okay, right. I can also do something else. Up here I can define, if I want to define them in a reversed order for some reason, I can have end, and let's say here 15, and start, I can say 10. And this is the syntax for it. I use the same the same names as I have in my method, so I'm pretty much telling the method, put them but in reverse order. So let's have a look. So if I put 2, okay, so from 10 to 15, and maybe I want to define just one value. Maybe I just want to define this one, and it's gonna do that as well. So the start now is the default start, and the end is going to be given up here. So for some reason you may want to do that. You may want to keep the default optional parameters, and sometimes you don't. Normally this is very rarely used. I know it's there and you can use it, but I haven't found the need so far to be using this. Sometimes it may be helpful in a certain situation, but not always. Alright, so right, what's next? Okay, now we have the methods which return a value. So right, so what we were doing now is pretty much grabbing some piece of code that could easily have been inside my main method, and we just wrap it up, give it a name, and that's it. Right now we actually want to have, yeah, this is the next picture. What we want to do now is something a bit different. So let me just add a new project. This is going to be return type methods. So, or yeah, return type. And this is number 3. Yeah. Okay. So let me just delete all of that. Okay, you've used quite a lot methods that have a return type without probably you even knowing. So if I do something like string text equals console.readline, what this method does, and this is a method, right? So it has the brackets and the semicolon. So this is a method. Okay, what this thing does is that it reads, so this method, with the implementation and so on, it checks what we've input on the console, and once I press enter, it brings it back to my variable text, right? So if I do now text, nothing magical is gonna happen, but what is happening here is that this method returns the value of the text that I've input. And it's very similar with other things. So if I say something like double pi, actually this has to be capital, equals math dot pi. So this thing does a this method, or whatever that is. Oh no, is it a constant? Yes, it's a constant, so I have to be doing some other example. So let's have a look. Right, so double square root equals math dot sqrt of, say, 5. And what is happening is absolutely the same thing. So this math dot sqrt does some complicated math behind it, and in fact it's not easy. So it uses some approximation methods. But what it does in the end is, give you the result back into a variable which is called sqrt in this case. Okay, so right, so let's do some simple examples with that. So you would start static, and then instead of void, which doesn't have return type, we would like to have, let's say that we return an integer. So static int multiply numbers. Okay, int num1, int num2, and everything that I want to do is, just multiply these two numbers. So I have to say return. With the keyword return, you give the return type, or what you want to bring back to your execution of this method. So return, and I just want to say num1 times num2. Okay, right, so how do we do that? So int multiplication equals multiply numbers, and let's put just two numbers, 2 and 5. And now I want to print it, and I get a 10. But this is the point. I have to save the result of my operation in my method into a variable, or somewhere else. And this happens with this change of keyword here. Instead of void, this has to be an integer. In this case, we'll be looking at different examples. Yes. Why do I have to save it in a variable? Well, in this case I don't, but this is just an example. But sometimes you may need to do that. So if you remember the dwarf position when we were doing the key handler, with left and right, so this method cannot. So if I have, okay, so let me answer this. So we had int dwarf x, and it was equal to some variable width divided by 2, right? And I want to say, so if I move left, I want to change this dwarf x. If I move right, I want to change this dwarf x. And the fact is that inside the method, I cannot access this dwarf x, right? Because it belongs to a different method. Okay, there is a way to do that, but that's bad code. If I do that, I can put it up here and say public dwarf x, and I can use it everywhere. But that's a bad thing to do. The correct thing to do is say int dwarf equals, say 5. And then if I want to move this dwarf x, I want to say dwarf x is going to be equal to change dwarf position of dwarf x, and just give it as a reference. And this change dwarf position is going to have a return type which is int. So I want to change this dwarf x. I want to change this and give it a new value, which is this method, and it's going to have a return type. So yeah, this is just an example, just to show you how it's done. Right. Not that we need it here, but we also didn't need to do any of the RSS methods, right? They were very simple, but just to illustrate the point. Okay. Right. So what do I want to explain next? So you do this with the return keyword, but this return also, what it does is stops the method from executing further. So if for some reason I want to stop a method, even if it's a void method, so somewhere around here, let's say that, where is that thing? Print max, no, I wanted to say print sign. So up here, let's say that for some reason, if I've checked this condition here, and I don't want to go any further in my checks, or right here, if I want to stop the execution of a method, even though it's a void, I can do that simply with the keyword return. So this thing is going to say, well, don't bring anything back, right? Because this is a void method. But when you read this, just stop the execution of the method, right? For some reason, I may want to do that. Right. This is pretty much it as an explanation. So let's see. What I want to do now is, have an array of integers and check if all of them are positive. Okay, how do I do that? So let's do that. So static bool, which is going to be the bool is positive, equals my method name, which is going to be called rPositive. And right, so static bool are positive, and inside I want to have this array that I'll be checking later on. And right, so I would like to have an array here as well, so let's do that. So int some numbers to check equals, and let's have just a couple of numbers, 1 2 3 4 10, probably, yeah, just do that. Okay, I would like to go through all of them, and if all of them are positive, I want to return true. I want to give this bool variable a value of true, and if one of them is negative, I want to give it a value of false. So static bool are positive, and I give the array. What I need to do is just go through the array for each. Can I do it for each? Yeah, sure, why not? For each number in array, and what I want to do is, so if I find a negative number, I'm just gonna return false. So if I find a negative number, if number is less than 0, I want to return false. And if all of this for each has been executed, that means that all of them are positive, and I want to return here, I want to return true. Okay, so how is this gonna work? I said that if I type in the return command in a method, this is gonna stop the method, right? So with this for each, I go through every single number in the array. If it's negative, then return false back here, and just stop further execution of my method, right? Because I don't need to check any more numbers, right? If I find a single one which is negative, then I just want to stop further execution. So after that, if all of this has been executed and we never go to the return here, that means that all of them are positive, and only then at the end I want to return true. So here I have to just put the array, so some numbers to check, and of course I want to print it. So I want to print it is positive. So are all numbers positive is positive. True. Okay, so let's do that. -2, then false. Okay, let's try to debug this. So I had a problem yesterday with my debug, so hopefully today it will be doing better. So, and today it's not working as well. So if I press F10 and if I press F10 again, it just quits, which is very, very weird. Okay, so I'll just explain it, straight away. So if I do my debug with F10, it's gonna go through the code, step by step. But what do you think is gonna happen when I am at this line here, and what is gonna happen if I press F10? It's gonna go to the method. Well, the answer is wrong, and what is gonna happen is that it's just gonna execute this line straight away. It's gonna find the method, do the calculations and so on, and it's gonna go straight into the next line. If you want to go into the method, you have to be debugging with F11. So if I'm pressing F10, it's just gonna go through all of these lines one by one, but it's not gonna care about the methods, right? So sometimes this can be very, very useful if I have like 50 methods or something like that, and I just want to keep track of the result of each one rather than going through every single line of code. Then the F10 is going to be better. But if you want to go to the method, let me just try again. I have no idea why this thing happens. So F11, if I press it and for some reason it just exits, I don't know. I have to fix this or probably reinstall. Right, but I am at this line of code. If I press F10, it's gonna go back to the next one. If I press F11, it's gonna find the method, which is right here, and it's gonna execute it, line by line. So F10 and F11 are the two keys that you should remember. Okay, right, what else do I have? Right, so let's have a small break of 10 minutes, and then we have probably about 10-15 more minutes of lecture. After that we're done. Okay, so next up we're going to be doing overloading of methods. So we can have methods which have the same name but have a different signature, meaning I'll just show you. It's easier to show than to explain. So let's add a new project. So this is going to be number 4, overloading, and change that here, overloading. Right, Control A, KD. Alright, so let's have a method that just prints something, right? So let's have the method which is static void print, and we would like to have string text. Actually I forgot the brackets, so text. Okay, I can have another method which has the same name but accepts a different type of variable, so maybe int number, and this is gonna be the same, so number. Let's make another one, so static void print, and I don't know what else is there. I have a string, so let's do array int array and string dot join and separator and then the array. Okay, so if you see here, I have 3 different methods which have the same name but have a different variable which they accept. So the program is gonna know what kind of thing that I'm using. So first of all, I want to say that if I just open up a bracket here and I zoom in, you see this 1 out of 3 here. Okay, this means that for this method print, I have three different sub methods, or they will be doing 3 different things. So print, and I want to say something like this, and then the same method with some number, maybe 20. Sorry, no, print. I wanted to say print 20. and then I don't know, print new int and 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and if I semicolon here, and if I execute this now, although the name of the method is the same, it's gonna do different things, right? So when you call a method, it checks what kind of variable you feed it, and it can do something, you know, completely different for each of these methods. If you remember, last time we did array.sort, and this has, I don't know if you see this, but it has 17 different overloads, or 17 different methods with the same name sort. In if you remember what we did, so let me put that, say -2. Let's put that up here. So the way we did it, one of the ways that we did it was, you know, I just put some array here. So let me just create an array quickly. Int array equals this, and let's just say array here. Okay, so we used this sort method in two ways last time. So here I can just put array and it's gonna sort it the default way, or I can, you know, give a lambda which is gonna, you know, tell me how would I like them sorted. So y.compare to and then x. Okay, right, so you see that they're now in reverse order. If I just use this, it's gonna print them the default way. So something similar to what we just did with the print method happens with the array.sort. So there are, you know, 17 different methods with the same name sort, and they all of them do the same thing, right? They sort, but how do they do it? What kind of values we feed, and so on, what kind of information, it can behave differently, and this is you know, very, very useful to know. If we check any of the other methods that we used, so this one, if I just open up a bracket, it's gonna tell me that there is just, you know, one method, and that's it, pretty much. So let me just do that back. Okay, and lastly, I'll put it in the same demo. We can have a variable number of parameters. So variable number of parameters. Okay, what happened? Right, so I would like to be able to do something like you know, print, or maybe calculate sum, and I want to be able to give it maybe 1, then calculate sum 1, 2, calculate sum, maybe, you know, 5 different elements, and so on. Normally you can do this with an array, right? So depending on how many, or with a list, depending on how many elements you have in your array, you're just gonna sum all of them up. But to do this here, I have to be putting an array, right? And I don't want to do that. I want to just, you know, straight away to calculate, straight away to have one method which is gonna calculate the sum independently of how many numbers I give. And if you use an array, remember that you have to have, you know, a fixed number of numbers in it. But here I'll be able to put as many numbers as I want, and I don't have to have different methods. So the way to do this is not static void calculate sum and then do nothing when this thing has to be int or long. Let's say long. Okay, so I don't have to do this for, you know, 0 variables, then int number, and just copy that again and put a new one, and so on. So if you do this, you can only do it for a finite number of elements. But if you do it with a variable number of parameters, then you don't have to do this. You can do it just in a single method. So this is what we'll be doing. So you have to use the keyword params, and then get an array which is called elements, and after that, so this keyword params means that we can have a variable number of elements, and so let's do that. So long sum equals 0, and for each var number in elements, sum equals sum plus equals number. Okay, and after that, in the end, I want to return sum. Okay, and now independently of how many numbers I give, because of this keyword params, this is what it's gonna do. It's gonna calculate if I give it 1, if I give it 2, even if I don't put anything in. Say here, calculate sum, and I don't put anything in, it's still gonna execute, right? So let me just do something here real quick. That doesn't work. Okay, console.writeLine, open up the bracket and close it up here, 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 and here. Okay, so the first one is 1, the second one is 1 plus 2, which is 3, the next one is 15, thanks, and this is what you get. If I don't put any numbers in, if I don't put any values in, what's gonna happen is that I'll be having this sum to be 0. I'm not gonna add anything to it, and then I'm just gonna return 0, so yeah, this is very, very useful, and once we get to JavaScript, you'll be using that quite a lot with the parameters. So what this does is, independently of what you feed, I can feed numbers, I can feed strings, and so on. It's gonna put them all in an array, which is called elements, independently of how many they are, and then I can do operations to the elements or to the array which is created, but it is created only after we call this method. I don't have to. So here, if you see, I just put the number straight in. I don't put an array or something like that, which will be a way around it. Yeah, okay, and right, that's pretty much about the lecture. Let's have a look at the last slide. So best practices: each method should perform a single well-defined task. Okay, don't make a method which is game, a method called game, and it does all of the game, right? There is absolutely no reason to do that. So every method has to have a single task, well-defined, and it should perform just that task. So if you're writing something like a banking system, you should have a method which is withdraw, a method which is put money in the bank, check balance, something like that. But you cannot have a method do everything with money and then just right. Okay, so the method's name should be clear and descriptive of the task it performs, neither too long nor too short. So these examples here: draw dwarf is fine, generate rocks is fine, move paddle, that's fine, but something which is very generic is bad. So something like process, task, do something, just f, just a function, right? So these are not descriptive of what you're trying to do, so always try to name them appropriately. Okay, homework is just 5, and they're pretty easy to do, and I guess you have a lot of experience with methods by the end of this course, so you have to use them in your teamwork, and you will have to use them in your exam as well. So I decided that it's not necessary to have that many problems here for you to check and do for yourselves. The last one is a bit more interesting. You have to read about generic types, and I saw here, first of all, this should not be there, and I saw down here that this is in black, so let me just change it real quick. Right, so you have to read about generic methods in C#. It's a bit more interesting than the thing that we did this lecture, and right, but it's not that complicated of a problem. Right, okay, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, yes. Can we overload by return type? Yes, sure, why not? I don't see any reason why not to. So static void print and int, and right here you want me to put something like int number, and here you want me to return number, right? Having to say, I don't think that that's gonna work, because once you give, let's see what the error is, because it has the same parameter parameter type inside. Okay, I did not get your question at first, but once you say print number of 5, it's not gonna know which one it should use. Is it the first one, or is it the second one, right? Because they have the same signature. So this is not gonna work. Yes, yes, I know what you're saying. They are, different, but their signature is the same. So, for some reason, this is how it works. I know. So right now, I want to be able to int number equals print of say 5, and just get the value 5. But once I use this print. Here it's used, separately. So the call to my method is done only via this line, and it cannot guess what is happening before that. Okay, so it doesn't care. It just say, okay, so this is my signature, this is my method name. So let's look for it. Okay, so this is one, and this is the second one, and I don't know what to do here. That's what happens. So let me remove that. Okay, other questions? Yes. Are there prototypes in C#? You mean like prototypes in JavaScript? Or absolutely no idea. Good question. So the question is, are there prototypes in C#? Well, the only prototype that I know is from JavaScript, which is basically a way to go around object-oriented programming in JavaScript, which is horrible. But C# has its own, way of handling classes and so on. So it doesn't need prototype. This would be my answer, but I really don't feel competent enough to answer this question in full. We can always check Google. This is always an option. A really good one as well, if I may say. So yeah. Okay. I'll see you next time.